The list that I have for you today is about excuses. As I've already said before, one of the things that creative people create the most is excuses to why they don't create. Creative people are really good at excuses because they are creative. I am going to give you now 6 excuses that you should try to avoid. 6 excuses that I've used myself, that I have seen other people use, and from my experience, if you avoid them, your life will be better. You will be more successful, you will have more money, you will have more fame, you will have more respect, you will be more attractive to other people, to clients, to other artists, creators, musicians. These are the 6 excuses. The first excuse is, I can do it, so why bother? A lot of creative people work on challenge. They like challenge. They like doing something new, they like doing something fresh, they like trying to do things. Once they've achieved this goal and they've managed to do something, they move on. They don't want to do the same thing. They've already achieved the goal. They have already done it. They know that they can do it. So why bother? I think that this is not the right way to go because the more you do things, the better you are. Maybe you do them good now. You can do them better if you do it again. If you do something 100 times, you will be good at it. You will be better than you started. So do it again, even if you already know how to do it. Even if you already put that V on the list, I have done that. Do it several more times, just to make sure that you really done it and you don't have any more further place to go if you can't do it better. The second excuse is, I cannot do it, so why bother? It was Ford, I think, not Harrison, the one from the Cars, that said that whether you believe that you can or you cannot, you are correct. Because it is mostly about attitude. If you believe that you cannot do it, you cannot do it. You will not do it. You will sabotage yourself on the way to do it because you believe you cannot. So don't use this excuse of, I cannot do it, so why bother? Learn how to do it. Try. Fail. Try again. Fail again. Try some more. There are some things that you really cannot do. Get to the point where you prove to yourself that you can't do it. Because most of the times, you will be surprised. You think you cannot do it, you start doing it, and before you even realize it, you've already done it. Excuse number 3 is one of my favorites. I don't have the money to do it. That is often a valid excuse. But if you don't have the money to do it the way you want to do it, what budget do you have to do it anyway? Maybe you can use cheaper tools. Maybe you can use less people for this project. Maybe you can use a free location that you get. Maybe you can do something that is slightly different but is more affordable. I have many projects that I cannot do because I cannot afford to. Projects that cost a lot of money. I just do them on a smaller scale. Or I do part of them. And then I do another part. It might even take years to complete the whole project because you're doing it like a puzzle. Every time that you can, you do one pass forward, according to your budget, according to what you can afford. Maybe you can't afford a $3,000 camera, but you can get just as good result with a $600 camera. Maybe you cannot afford oil paints, which are expensive. Use acrylic, use watercolor, use a pen. Not having money should never stop you from creating. It can limit you a little bit. but don't use it as an excuse to not create. Excuse number 4 is another one of my favorites. I don't have the time. I don't have the money, I don't have the time. You've heard it a million times. I don't have a time for this kind of projects. I'm busy. I have to do this, I have to do that. I don't have the time. Make the time. There is a famous saying, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. A busy person who has 8 things on his plate can put another one. Now he has 9 things. He will get it done. Somebody who doesn't have the time will not be able to do even 2. Because time is not something that you have. Time is something that you make. It is a part of your priorities. It is a part of your choices. I don't have the time to do this project because I have to spend 4 hours a day scrolling on my iPhone, pressing like and share on some stupid things that I saw on social media. I don't have a time to create because I have to go drinking with my friends. I don't have time to create because. Excuse number 5. I am not talented enough. You're right. I will not argue with you. If you feel that you are not talented enough, there usually is a base for that. The question is, what is enough? I am not talented enough to do oil paintings. Learn. I am not talented enough to record an album of my music. Try. I am not talented enough to... A lot of people think that talent is something that you are born with and that's it. Talent is something that you are born with. It is a tool that you are born with. It is a skill that you were born with. People who are talented just start from a more advanced point on the path to creation. They maybe have a little less to go to reach that goal. People who are less talented have to work harder. Now I know a lot of creative people are appalled by this concept of working harder or working at all. But don't let your imaginary lack of talent stop you from creating. If you think that you're not talented enough, it just means that you have to work more, that you have to work longer, that you have to practice more, that you have to build your skill set more. So don't use it as an excuse. The last excuse is the most painful and sad one. Something that, again, I've experienced on my flesh. I've experienced in my life. I cannot do it because somebody said something sometime. When I was young, somebody told me that I don't have perfect hearing, that I am tone deaf. I took it as a fact. I cannot be a musician because I am tone deaf. Why? Because somebody said something. When you were young, you painted something that was not the same as what the other people in the class painted. You were 8 years old and you painted a subject, you used different colors, you used a different theme, you did something that was not normal. And somebody looked at it and said, "What's that? That's shit. How do you paint it? That's not how a person looks. That's not how a dog looks. This is not the right color for the sun. This is not the..." People say a lot of things. We, especially as creative, are hypersensitive. We take input seriously. Input from everywhere, from the world. What we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we experience. So when somebody said something, especially if it's something negative, we take it in, we take it personally. It imprints itself on our being. It is engraved in our brain. Somebody said something, somebody didn't like it. Somebody criticized my work. I know that it is extremely hard not only to ignore this, but to fix the damage of these things that you heard, especially when you were young, when some form of authority figure told you you're not good enough, that you will never amount to anything, that you are not talented enough and being creative is not a job, and this and that. And I know, I've been there, I've done that. I've spent many years repairing this damage. What I'm telling you is don't use this as an excuse. Somebody said something. Okay, you do what you need to do, what you believe that you need to do, what you want to do, what you have to do. These are 6 excuses that prevent you from achieving your full potential, from being the real creative that you should be, that you could be. Please, just try not to use them. Try not to use these excuses to sabotage yourself, to sabotage your progress. If anything, at least try to be creative and create some original excuses. Okay?